Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, brush fires in Calhoun County burn nearly 1,000 acres, forcing quick action to protect homes and land. Plus, tonight's Yoakum City Council meeting will have discussions on new ordinances, citizen complaints, and a major policy change. And a major migrant processing center in Texas is shutting down, what it means for the future of border operations.
We've got plenty of sunshine for the next few days, but also plenty of heat, and you saw that fire danger. We're looking at 83 tomorrow, but then getting up into the low 90s for the latter part of this week. We'll look for some rain coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
The search for a missing college student in the Dominican Republic intensifies as authorities expand the search area and bring in new resources. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon and thanks for being with us. I'm Shawna Currie. We start this afternoon with breaking news. A Victoria ISD employee is arrested on multiple child sexual abuse charges. According to the Victoria County Sheriff, school resource officers were alerted to a person on the Cade Middle School campus who had outstanding felony warrants. Around 2 o'clock this afternoon, school resource officers located Carlos Caceres, who's an employee of Victoria ISD, and he was taken into custody without incident. Caceres was found to have 3 felony warrants, including 1 for sexual assault of a child and 2 of indecency with a child. The investigation is still ongoing, and we'll have more on this coming up on 25 News Now at 6. Well, firefighters worked for nearly 8 hours battling flames in Calhoun County while nearly 1,000 acres burned. More than 50 firefighters from multiple agencies, including Port O'Connor, Seadrift, and Port Lavaca fire departments responded. They had backup from 2 dozers, 5 airplanes, a helicopter, and 11 fire trucks. Local ranchers and landowners also pitched in, bringing drinks and food to keep crews going. The Bayside fire is fully contained at 20 acres, while the Oceanfront fire has burned over 500 acres and is now 95% contained. No major injuries were reported. Effective immediately, Goliad County is under a burn ban, meaning no outdoor burning is allowed until further notice. Officials put the ban in place due to dry conditions and fire danger, urging everyone to be extra cautious. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the Goliad County Office of Emergency Management. Violation of the burn ban is a Class C misdemeanor that could result in a fine up to $500. And this brings us to our viewer poll today. What worries you most about wildfires? Is it the property damage, air quality, emergency response time, or the risk to firefighters? And right now, 82% of voters are most worried about property damage that can result from wildfires. We want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And we will take a look at these numbers again on 25 News Now at 6. Well, it doesn't look like we have any rain in the forecast. To give us some relief, let's go to Mac Perez for a first look at our forecast. Mac.
Thanks, Shawna. And of course, the story there on the wildfire in Calhoun County, that pretty much sets the stage that we're all going to have to be dealing with. Now, at this hour, we don't have a red flag warning up for our area. We start basically in Bexar County and go all the way out to El Paso. However, having seen what you just saw, we should all be very cautious with anything that looks like a flame for the next few days. We've got some very hot, dry weather that'll be with us through the end of this week, and next week doesn't seem like it's going to be changing much. We'll be taking a look at all that coming up in just a moment. Back to you, Shawna.
The Yoakum City Council meets tonight with several items on the agenda. A public hearing will give residents a chance to weigh in on a proposed moratorium on manufactured homes within city limits. Council members will also consider repealing an ordinance that regulates game rooms and amusement redemption machines. Plus, they will hear complaints from a resident about current and former city employees, as well as other concerns dating back to 2018. Those are just a few items on the agenda. The meeting starts at 5:30 this evening at City Hall, and we'll have a report on 25 News Now at 10. Well, TikTok is now making it easier to track your kids' activity on the social media platform. TikTok saying this will help parents keep their kids safe by adding parental controls. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more.
Today, new ways to watch your kids and the clock on TikTok. The hugely popular social media app is rolling out a feature called Balanced Digital Habits in order to help parents watch their children's usage and even control their child's access.
It really activates an important dialogue between parents and kids and teens about when it's appropriate to sit and scroll the app.
The first new feature is called Time Away. This will allow parents to block kids and teens from being on the app at certain times. For some families, that could mean blocking access during the school day or even at night. Another new feature is called Family Pairing. Parents will be able to see who their child is following on TikTok, who follows them, and who their child has blocked.
It gives families even more transparency and potentially protects kids from following accounts that might provide misinformation, bad information, even cyberbullying.
And finally, TikTok enacting a wind down feature for teens under age 16. After 10 p.m., if they're using the app, their feed will be interrupted with a full screen takeover. It will have calming music and encourage the teen to be mindful of the time. However, TikTok reporting that for those who have used this feature, the kids kept using it even after that full screen takeover.
We could include this potentially in a list of bedtime hygiene. So this could be turning down screens, getting teeth brushed, making sure that everything is ready so kids can slowly calm down, turn down the energy, and get to bed.
And now for those of you saying, hey, wasn't TikTok banned? It was back in January, but President Trump postponed that and gave TikTok 75 days to sell to a non-Chinese buyer. His administration now says 4 different groups are interested in buying it, with business analysts estimating it's worth between $100 to $200 billion. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A key Texas House committee has unanimously approved the chamber's main property tax cut proposals. To read the full Texas Tribune article, visit our website, crossroadstoday.com. Houston residents are paying their respects to former Mayor and Congressman Sylvester Turner today at City Hall. The building is lit in blue in his honor. Turner passed away March 5th at age 70, just weeks into his first term in Congress. He previously served 8 years as Houston's mayor and 27 years in the Texas House before winning Sheila Jackson Lee's former seat in November. He will lie in state at the Texas Capitol on Thursday, with his funeral set for Saturday in Houston. Governor Greg Abbott has yet to announce a special election for his vacant seat. U.S. Border Patrol has shut down a temporary migrant processing facility in Donna, Texas. The 185,000 square foot facility opened in February 2021. U.S. Border Patrol said nearly 611,000 people were processed at the facility, including about 223,000 children who crossed the border alone. Now, with illegal border crossings historically low, migrants are being sent to other facilities. Agents assigned to the center are now going back to patrolling the river or working out of their assigned stations. There are still 2 temporary processing centers open in San Diego and El Paso. Leave no stone unturned. That's the vow from a county sheriff involved in the search for a missing University of Pittsburgh student in the Dominican Republic. The college junior disappeared while on vacation with friends last week. Laura Aguirre breaks down the most recent timeline from authorities of her last known movements.
It's definitely something that everyone should be really processing, because it can happen to anyone.
I didn't know her personally, but I just imagined that like being my own friend.
Now, many know the face of Sudiksha Kananki. The 20-year-old University of Pittsburgh student vanished while on spring break in the Dominican Republic last Thursday.
What we do know is the last time that she was sighted was on at about 5 a.m. At the beach there at near the resort.
Sheriff Michael Chapman is in Loudoun County, Virginia, where Kananki is from. His office is among many law enforcement agencies involved in the investigation.
It's possible that she never went into the water. It's possible that there's something else that could have happened.
Authorities say Kananki was last seen shortly after 4 a.m. Thursday, leaving her Punta Cana hotel with a group. When the group left the beach, Kananki reportedly stayed behind with a young man. Hours later, he was seen leaving the area alone, and Kananki was reported missing Thursday afternoon. Law enforcement sources familiar with the case say Kananki's swimsuit cover-up was found on a beach chair, and there were no signs of violence. Also, the young man seen with her on the beach has been questioned by police, but is not considered a suspect at this time.
He may have been drunk, he may not remember, he may have been passed out. So we have to consider all the possibilities in not only focusing on one individual.
We're just hoping and praying that we find her. That's the outcome that we want.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
The search area has expanded based on wave patterns, and over 300 people are now involved using advanced technology. Officials, including top military and rescue leaders, also conducted an aerial search by helicopter. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Stay with us. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5. A federal cutback could impact school meals and food banks, why some say it hurts local farmers the most. And allergy season is here. Beat the sneeze and get ahead of those spring sniffles. The Agriculture Department has cut 2 programs that helped schools and food banks buy from local farmers. One program sent $660 million to the local Food for Schools Cooperative Agreement Program, while the rest funded the local Food Purchase Assistance Program. With both programs gone, over $1 billion in federal funding disappears. Critics, including the Iowa Food System Coalition and the Massachusetts governor, are already speaking out against the move. A new study suggests microplastics could be helping antibiotic-resistant superbugs spread. These tiny plastic particles make the perfect home for slimy biofilms, which bacteria use as protection. While many surfaces can host these biofilms, plastics seem to attract the strongest bacteria. One researcher compared microplastics to rafts. Bacteria that might struggle to travel alone can hitch a ride on plastic, spreading into new environments. Well, spring is right around the corner, and some people may be looking forward to the flowers and warmer weather. Our typical weather now. But if you're one of the millions of Americans who suffer from seasonal allergies, you may be dreading this time of year. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to an allergist about what to do now to prepare for spring allergies.
It's that time of year again. The flowers, the sun, the pollen.
If you wait until you start to have symptoms, those allergy cells are already starting to get unhappy.
That's why allergist Dr. Christopher Brooks with the Ohio State University Wexner Medical Center says if you're one of the millions who suffer from spring allergies, prepare now to lessen and even prevent some symptoms before they get out of control. He says to begin using sprays. Saline can help clear the nasal passages, and a steroid nasal spray can help reduce inflammation.
Some of the generics are things like fluticasone or mometasone. So starting 1 or 2 sprays per nostril every day, a week before symptoms start, will be a great place to start.
If sprays aren't for you, Brooks says to start a long-acting antihistamine pill before symptoms start. And once pollen is in the air, check pollen forecasts, limit outdoor time at peak pollen time, continue taking allergy medications, especially ones prescribed to you, and practice good hygiene like washing hands, and showering after being outside.
If they're keeping you from sleeping, they're keeping you from, living your fullest quality of life, I think it's a great idea to talk to your doctor, with your primary care doctor or allergist, to look for next steps to help you make you feel better.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The CDC says to lessen the impact of seasonal allergies by changing clothes after being outdoors, keeping windows closed, and using high-efficiency air filters in your home. Well, a deer hunter at a ranch in West Texas was looking for game, but found something much bigger, a possible mammoth tusk. The ranch manager was skeptical at first, so he called in experts from the Center for Big Bend Studies at Sul Ross State to investigate and hit the jackpot. It was, in fact, a mammoth tusk, a rare find in West Texas. The team spent 2 days carefully preparing it for study at Sul Ross, where carbon dating will soon reveal just how old it is.
It's pretty interesting to consider that those huge guys used to walk around where we are now. Pretty amazing. Anyway, folks, lots of sunshine. That's nice. I hope you're enjoying it. We're looking for temperatures to start getting into that summer-like category. We're at 79 right now. We are looking at a 16-mile-an-hour wind. High today got up to 80. And by tomorrow, we'll probably start pushing the upper 80s and then the 90s. We'll talk about that coming up in just a moment. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Yes, summer-like weather is with us, and it's going to be here for quite some time. It's only March, folks. It's not even St. Patrick's Day yet. So this should be springtime, right? Easter flowers, the Easter bunny, all that stuff. Well, it's going to feel a lot more like 4th of July. What you can see here on the humidity is that we're looking at the higher humidity that's right along the immediate coastline. Why? Because it's by the water, so that water vapor moves into that area. If you can see inland areas, we're down to 25% humidity, and it's going to be even drier than that in far west Texas. That's why they're under a big red flag warning. Now, our winds are out of the south, and of course, being close to the water's edge, we get some of that Gulf air, and the air is moderated by the temperature of the water. Well, over here, the air is moderated by the temperature of the mountains and the deserts. So all these temperatures out here are going to be in the near 100 range for the next couple of days. So it's going to be hot, dry, and very windy, and so we need to be cautious. You see, we already had a little fire situation down in Calhoun, and that only alerts all of us to, you don't need a warning. You just got to be careful right now this time of year until everything really greens up, which will be in a month or so. We're looking at a weak frontal system, but that one's going in that direction, not a problem for us. Here's what I'm looking at. I was hoping that the combination of this storm and this storm would come and knock a high pressure down and blow it out of the way and get us some nicer weather, but that's not going to happen. This is so strong that this little ridge or this little low will move across Texas, give us a frontal system, but it's just going to be a dry line. Now, as you can see right here, Victoria is not included in the red flag warning, but I don't need to tell you, we all need to be very cautious. It begins at Bexar County, goes all the way out there to the Del Rio area and even on to El Paso. So for all of us, we're not in the watch or in the warning right now, but I think we are all smart enough to know that it's a time of year with extremely low humidities and very dry vegetation to be very cautious. 83 tomorrow's high temperature and then getting up to 91, 90 on Friday. And while we're in the 90s, much of the Rio Grande will be in right at about 100 degrees. So here we are. We're not even at mid-March and we're already hitting 100 degrees. I hope that's not a sign for the future. You can see how our low temperature tonight will be down to 61. That's milder than it was this morning because we get more Gulf air coming in. I do believe we'll have a little fog early in the morning for a couple of hours. Not a huge widespread thing, but just, you know, watch out for that if you're down along the coastal areas. Otherwise, there you see it, 83 for us, 83 in Houston, but 89, 90 in San Antonio and 102 in the Laredo area. So it's a bit early for that, but that's what we're going to be getting. So let's take a look at your day planner for tomorrow. Actually a pretty nice day in Port Lavaca, a little bit of cloud cover in the morning, then afternoon sun getting up to 80 degrees, high temperature in Cuero getting up to about 84, 85. And as you can see on your 7-day forecast, there's really no rain in sight. The only thing we got exciting next week is St. Patrick's Day. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. Shawna, back to you.
All right, make sure you wear that green. Well, coming up, 2 major airlines are feeling the turbulence of fear as recent crashes spark concerns and affect ticket sales. Here's a look at today's closing stock numbers. The Dow lost 478 points. The S&P 500 is down 42 points, and the Nasdaq lost 32 points. Oil is up 59 cents to $66.25 per barrel. One of Southwest Airlines' biggest perks, free checked bags, is going away. The airline announced today that starting May 28th, passengers will have to pay for their first and second checked bags. The only exceptions are A-list loyalty members and business fare travelers. This change comes just months after Southwest scrapped its open seating policy and follows growing pressure for leadership changes and an operations overhaul. It also comes after Elliott Investment Management took a $1.9 billion stake in the airline last year. 2 major airlines say fear of flying is keeping some travelers away. Delta's CEO believes 2 recent crashes are at least partly to blame. One involved a Delta flight that flipped upside down while landing in Toronto last month. No one was seriously hurt there. The other was a fatal collision between an American Airlines flight and a military helicopter in D.C. American Airlines CEO says that crash is a big reason their revenue forecasts are down. Right now, he says their main focus is supporting the families of the victims. Concerns about the economy are hitting America's small businesses hard. The National Federation of Independent Businesses Uncertainty Index jumped last month, reaching its second highest level since 1973. The latest survey released today shows that in February, fewer small business owners felt it was a good time to expand. In fact, the drop in optimism was the biggest since April 2020 during the pandemic. This uncertainty comes as fears about inflation and a potential recession grow, partly fueled by the Trump administration's trade policies. There are over 33 million small businesses in the U.S., employing nearly half of all private sector workers. Well, the stock market in the red at the close today over growing fears of a recession. President Trump also doubling his tariffs on all aluminum and steel imports from Canada, set to take effect tomorrow, causing the market to plunge even more. ABC's Rena Roy has the latest.
The U.S. stock market taking a hit with President Trump ramping up his trade war with Canada, doubling his tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports from 25 to 50% for Canada, set to take effect Wednesday morning after Ontario slapped a 25% tariff on electricity sent to the U.S. But this afternoon, Ontario Premier Doug Ford suspending that surcharge after speaking with the Trump administration.
The temperature needs to come down, and I thought this was the right decision. They understand how serious we are about the electricity and the tariffs.
Experts warn Americans could see higher prices by Memorial Day on things like washing machines, canned goods, and cars. Some businesses like Highwire Brewing in Asheville, North Carolina, already feeling the impact.
Our cost of goods have gone up. Our cans have already gone up in price. Bottom line is going to eat into a good part of our profits.
Trump has put a pause on many of his 25% tariffs on goods from Mexico and Canada, but so far no end in sight to this trade war. The incoming Canadian Prime Minister saying, "My government will keep our tariffs on until the Americans show us respect and make credible, reliable commitments to free and fair trade." Democrats slamming the president, saying he's to blame for growing recession fears and economic instability.
One thing businesses tell us, they want certainty and they want stability. One thing they're getting from Donald Trump, uncertainty and chaos. Donald Trump has single-handedly poured a bucket of ice water on the economy.
Republicans pointing the finger at former President Biden.
We are in a period of economic transition. We are in a period of transition from the mess that was created under Joe Biden in the previous administration.
And experts say this economic instability is also because of the uncertainty coming from the White House, with Trump flip-flopping several times on his tariff plans. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Still to come, we'll take a last look at your weather forecast. Plus, man found that man's best friend may be unpredictable and a little trigger happy. We'll explain.
Tonight, rising prices, tariff uncertainty, the state of the economy, where things stand, plus tracking the measles cases across the U.S. World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Is a positively unusual story. Police in Memphis, Tennessee responded to a bizarre call Monday morning when a dog somehow shot its owner. So here's what happened. The man was lying in bed when his dog decided it was time for some snuggles. In a twist of fate and perhaps some very enthusiastic paw action, the dog managed to get its paw stuck in the trigger guard of a gun. The result, a bullet grazed the man's thigh. Thankfully, he was treated at the hospital and his injuries were not life-threatening or serious. But I guess we can say that dog really knows how to leave a mark.
Oh, yeah, don't tell him to go fetch, okay?
Yeah.
Because if he does, who knows what's going to happen next.
That is one of those just,
strange.
can't even predict
you
it.
can imagine the big dog jumping on the bed, trying to snuggle up, and then of course there's a weapon there. Well, amazing. Well, folks, I hope you're ready for summer-like temperatures because we are looking in the 90s here in the next couple of days. We're just going to have to get used to it and also be very cautious. You know, we were talking about the fire in Calhoun. I'm glad they got to it. Any kind of wildfire right now is going to have a lot of room to grow, so we need to be very cautious, make sure nothing happens. Look out for that stuff.
Yeah, we have several controlled burns in Victoria County, but those are all under control. And yes. Well, thanks for being with us. We'll see you back in 30 minutes.